Okay, so this is going to be a very interesting talk from my good friend Stephanie, and it's why we need to start believing we matter. So guys, large round of applause for Stephanie Cohen.
A little bit interactive. Can everyone see? Yeah? I think I'll just turn it this way. Doing well, failing well, failing well. Hi. Hi, thank you. So I'm going to start with a little confession, because I think that's always a good place to start. And it's that I have no friends and family here today. So I need you to be extra loud and supportive and cheerlead for me today. Is that right? Yeah, great, thank you. So I'm just going to start with a quick rundown of what's going to take place in the next 10 minutes. So I'm going to introduce myself briefly. Then I'm going to prove to you scientifically why each and every one of you is undeniably incredible with science. I'm going to talk about some people that you've never heard of and explain why they're important and why it means that you're important too. And then I'm going to, with the use of a foolproof mathematical formula, prove to you why you matter and why you need to continue to do what you do in the world every single day, being uniquely you. How does that sound? Are you interested in that? Yeah? Okay. So I've just got some notes in my hand purely because slightly nervous and just worried about forgetting what I'm going to say. So please bear with me if I need to refer to my notes. So I'm Steph. I am a life and creativity coach. I'm a yoga and meditation teacher. I'm a trained actress and a dancer, and probably a couple of other things that I can't remember right now. I am very lucky to have been through the amazing MOE training that Darren and the team run, and Tony was my coach on that, and he's been an incredible inspiration to me as well. So I just wanted to quickly say thank you to all of you guys for being so amazing, because it's really life-changing. It's kind of crazy for me to stand here and talk about why you need to start believing you matter, because for most of my life I didn't realise that I mattered at all. And it was through no fault of my family or anyone that loved me. They were all very supportive of me. I was very, very lucky to grow up in a loving environment and a household where I was encouraged to follow my dreams and do what I wanted to do and get a good education. But I was brought up in a way that, you know, many of us are told to always be polite, offer your seat to people, speak kindly to your peers. You know, don't make anyone else in the room feel uncomfortable. Always be accommodating. Make people, even if it's at your own expense, make sure that everyone else is taken care of. Make sure they're okay. And I know a lot of us are brought up in that way, and there's nothing inherently bad about it at all. But as I got older, it felt like there was something slightly going awry. When I started to go out into the world, I suddenly realised that I didn't know how to ask for things. I didn't know how to ask for what I needed, and I didn't even know if I was allowed to ask for what I needed, because I just had never had any practice at it. On the rare occasions, as a young adult and a grown-up in the workplace, where I did try and assert myself and ask for what I needed, I was quite unceremoniously cut down on many occasions, which obviously knocks your confidence a lot and makes you question and hate yourself a lot. So because of all that, gradually I began to feel like I just didn't have a voice, that even when I spoke up, nobody was interested, nobody was listening. Often at school you'll talk at, not to. Even at university level, I felt like there was a lot of information being thrown at me and not a lot of conversation happening with me. And in the workplace, I felt like as long as I ticked the boxes and as long as I followed the company line, you know, I could have been anyone. As long as you do those things, you're okay. As soon as you start, as some of us have found out, as Linda was saying, as soon as you start questioning things, trying to raise your voice, suggesting things, maybe being a bit more creative, it gets a little bit harder and people aren't always as willing to listen to you. And every company has their own agenda, and if you don't want to follow it, then you leave. And that seems to be my experience of the way things were in the workplace. But all of that gradually made me feel like I was a little bit invisible and that I didn't really have a voice. You know, who was I to rock the boat, speak up, be loud, be seen, make a stand about things? How could I challenge other people and make them wrong? You know, that went against the grain of the way I was brought up. So during my education, I felt like I was told that I would matter if I was successful. That, you know, I could have talent, but it was only worth something if I made money out of that talent. And just inherently having it or inherently being was not enough, apparently. It had to equate to success, and success in the way that the world saw it in this box that we have called what's successful. And I'm the kind of person, I do need to be creative in my life. And I actually get quite depressed if I'm not creative. But, you know, even in the workplaces, I've tried to assert myself in that way, trying to make a job more interesting, because there are a lot of repetitive tasks in most jobs. I was told to just, you know, get real, play the game. Don't waste your money outside of work doing stupid things like dance classes and acting, you know. Get realistic, where's that going to get you? And even in the outside world, you know, most people grow up now kind of sadly in a way fighting for their own sense of self-worth. And as someone who grew up in the dance and acting world as well, and there's a lot of criticism and judgment about what you look like, I felt like I was fighting for a way to like myself, for a way to feel confident and comfortable with who I was and what I looked like. And I would look at the outside world and I would see men in suits at podiums speaking and being applauded, and women in bikinis having a cellulite circle on the front of magazines. So there were lots of things that fed into feeling unworthy. And it was very, very challenging to try and figure out a way around this. And after years and years of being in these systems, and these systems of work, and these offices that really I felt like I wasn't doing anything meaningful, I was pushing around paper, I was sending emails, I was ticking the boxes. I started to think, what am I doing wrong here? You know, what's going on with what's happening? I'm not happy. I can't get out of bed in the morning. There's no reason for me to get out of bed and go to work in the morning. I'm trying to be a good citizen, have a job, be independent, be stable, do everything I was brought up to do. But there's something broken about it for me, and it just doesn't work. And do I want to spend the rest of my life like this, or do I want to find another way? So I realized that I had to change the story that I was telling myself about the way the world worked and about my place in it. I wanted a world where hope was something that was real and that was valued, not seen as something that was naive and not worthwhile. So I looked around and I found companies, people, places, things that gave me that sense of hope and that reinforced this innate sense of hope that I have in myself all the time anyway. We are making great leaps in science. There are incredible people in the world doing incredible things. Lots of people are in this room today who do incredible things, and I'm very honoured to stand next to them. You know, I wanted a world where it was a reality to protect the environment, to empower people through education and entrepreneurship, to share food and water resources, to cure diseases. And that's the world that I want to be a part of and that I want to focus on. And I don't want to buy into, you know, what the media feed me and this fear-mongering and spin and otherness. That's not a part of the story that I want to take on board. And I don't want to buy into what the marketing and consumer industry tell me. I'm not a demographic or a type. And I don't want to be sold at, like Stephen was talking about earlier, shouted at and told I need to be a size 8, I need to look like Rosie Huntington-Whiteley or whoever. I want to be told that I am valued, that I am 100% allowed to be me, 100% allowed to be unique and valued because of it. And I can't rely on other people to tell me that either, though it would be nice. It has to come from the inside out as well. So I went on a bit of a different journey. I managed to leave all the corporate jobs that were making me absolutely unhappy, and I went on a journey to change my story. So we've reached the bit where I can now scientifically prove to you why you are incredible, because part of my journey was becoming a yoga teacher. And one of the lessons we had to learn were anatomy lessons. And I'm just going to draw some terrible pictures that you're going to have to guess what they are. So one of the things we learnt was what happens to these. This is a very bad drawing. Can anyone guess what this is? Yeah! Wow, I'm really impressed. So when we're born, our lungs are flat packed. And when we take our very first breath, our lungs are inflated with that first breath. And who can tell me what this is? It's, again, terrible. I'm really, really bad at drawing. This looks like a tomato, but it's actually not. Someone said it, heart. Yes, heart, fabulous. So again, when we take our very first breath when we're born, the heart separates into 2 chambers. And this changes our circulation in our body. So when we're a fetus in the womb, our circulation is going in one direction, and as soon as we take our first breath, it changes and goes in the other direction. This is incredible, no? The first breath is 3 to 4 times stronger than any breath you will ever take during the rest of your life. And that first breath inflates your lungs, separates your heart into 2 chambers, and changes your circulation. Am I too close to something? So who thinks that is incredible? That is in each and every one of you. That happened to each and every one of you without even trying. You didn't have to do anything. You just got born.
How do you know?
So the second thing about this, our incredibleness, without even our effortless incredibleness, is that in our bodies, we start off again. To be born, this has to happen, right? What's this? Yes. So we start off as 2 cells. Who can tell me how many cells you currently have in your body, approximately? Millions? Billions? It's actually approximately 100 trillion. And each one of those cells is working tirelessly on your behalf to keep you healthy, to keep you balanced, to keep you happy. The cell itself, thank you, has a very difficult balance to strike. It has to make sure that the toxins get out, and it has to make sure that nutrients get in. If it gets this wrong, it dies. If there's too many toxins too many nutrients pressing in on the outside, it'll implode. If it's got too many toxins that can't get out, it will explode. And it has to keep the balance of toxins and nutrients completely correct. And that's just 1 cell. And you have 100 trillion. And each of those cells is talking to its neighbor cells. And each of those neighbor cells are talking to their neighbor organ. And each of the neighbor organs are talking to the brain. And the brain is talking to everything in your body. You are literally incredible. I just want you to, if you can take 1 second to turn to the person next to you and just tell them from the bottom of your heart how incredible they are. If you just turn to them and say, you are incredible. So it's Thank you, guys. Thank you. So it's taken me a long time to figure out just how incredible I am without it trying, and how incredible all of you are. And also along that journey, I started to look out into the world to see who was out there doing what, and I found these two guys. Does anyone know who they are? This is, I love them from mine. This is Steve Madrell, and this is, I'm going to probably pronounce his name wrong, Joshua Makusa. Now, has anyone heard of them? No? There's no reason why you should, really. But in 1984, they went out to Kenya together. And they just had a look around Kenya and had a discussion about maybe what they could do to help. A year later, they went back and they built sand dams and water tanks for communities and families in need. They founded a charity called Excellent Development, and 31 years later, they have helped 853,000 people to have access daily to sustainable clean water. It's incredible. Now, they were completely unknown, but it didn't stop them because they knew that they mattered. And they knew that what they wanted to do with their life mattered, and it mattered to the people that they were going to help. There's one other person, and it costs basically, these 853,000 people who now have water, it costs less than £10 per person to do what they've done. And they've done it through sand dams, and if you can research what they're doing, it's absolutely incredible. There's one other person I want to mention as well. This is Primal Shah, and he is the co-founder of Kiva. Has anyone heard of Kiva? Maybe they're a bit bigger, yeah. They're a charity I love. And he's helped over 2 million people. And he's not just given handouts and given money. He's given loans so that they can build a business, sustain a business, create incomes for themselves, their families, their communities. Has anyone heard of him in this room? No. But he knew that he mattered, and he knew that the people he needed to help mattered. And he went and he did what he had to do. Darren is another one of these people that I can draw on the board. He knows that he matters, and he knows what he does matters to the people that he helps. And I'm one of those people. Thank you again. And finally, I'm going to prove to you mathematically, I know I have to go, why you matter. So if we take you, and I'd like each of you just to think of one thing that you do that matters to somebody else in the world. It could be anything from helping an elderly relative with their shopping, cooking your kid a healthy meal when they get home from school. You might be a teacher, a doctor, anything. It could be from tiny to big, whatever you want to choose. Just take 1 second and think of one thing. Has everyone got something? Yeah? Do you just want to just shout it out all at once, just so I know that you've got something? Ready? Go! Bit louder? Can you do it a little bit louder so I know everyone's got one thing? Ready, go? That's better, that's better. Okay, so this is the thing that you do that matters, and this has an impact on the people around you. Now, you don't just do one thing that matters in the world, you do multiple things a day. Day in, day out, year out. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to times it by pi, because pi is a never-ending number, and there are a never-ending number of things that you do. I don't know the mathematical thing for that. I'm not a maths person, by the way, I'm an English person. So this is hard for me. So your impact, so what you do plus what matters, what you do that matters, sorry, who you are plus what you do that matters, times an infinite number of things that you do that matter, equal an infinite impact. Yeah. Now times that by the number of people there are in the world. How many people are there in the world? 8 billion. I'm going to say 8 billion because I've not looked that one up. 8 billion times 8 billion. Isn't that huge? And that's just from you. You start all of this process off. So if there's one thing that I think is really important if you want to do anything in the world, the first thing that you have to do is believe that what you do matters, because you matter, because you are incredible. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, Stephanie.
Okay.
So I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
When you believed that you mattered, what has, been the most profound sort of, what would you say effects you, is the word I think I'm looking for. What's the most profound effects that's had on you?
Well, I had very bad depression and problems with food and things like that because I wasn't living authentically, I wasn't living in flow, wasn't doing anything that really meant something to me. So when I started to realise this, everything started to shift, and I could get up in the morning and I could start figuring out what meant something to me and how I could actually make it happen, and now I'm actually doing it. I'm coaching, I'm training, I've done my life coaching with Mo, and I'm training as a creativity coach at the moment. And I want to create workshops and help as many people as I can, really.
Fantastic. So you're walking the walk.
Yeah, I hope so.
Brilliant. Guys, massive round of applause for Stephanie.